What's up, everybody? Welcome to HBCU Game Day, where we don't just cover the game, we cover people who shape it. And today, I'm gonna sit down with the coach whose journey is one of the most unique in HBCU football. And we're gonna sit down, and it's gonna be a conversation with Cobi and Coach Nemo Washington, who has lived every phase of the sport. A quarterback at Bowie State, a coach molded by adversity and resilience, and he's also with the NFL Diversity Coaching Fellowship with the Cleveland Browns, and now part of the new energy at Delaware State as they reshape and elevate their standard. I'm gonna bring on my man, Coach Nemo Wilson. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing, man? I appreciate this opportunity to be on here.
Oh man, we appreciate you. I'm living the dream, brother. You know, so we know you played quarterback at Bowie State, but before football really became something big for you, who was Nemo Washington? You know, before the playbook.
Before that, I was originally born in Atlanta, Georgia. So my father, Brian Washington, he put the football in my hand at a young age in Atlanta, Georgia. As soon as I was born, put the football in me and my brother hand, Akil Washington, playing football in the backyard. Growing up in Atlanta, like it was big. Football in the South is huge. Even though we started playing basketball first, like organized football was something that he put in our hands, and then it carried over when we moved to Maryland, to Seat Pleasant, Maryland, and that's all we knew. And it was at a young age, our father would wake us up at 5:36 in the morning, go take us to the PG Sports Complex to go run, to train, and show us that like hard work is what's going to take if you want to make it in the game of football, because football is something he plays. So that's who I was as a child. It was put in my hand at a young age. I don't think it was forced, but it was something my dad, he at least encouraged it. And then it was something we fell in love with. And I think God has allowed football to be using as a pathway to get to where I'm at today. So, no, that's just the beginning part, is who I am as a person and where football started from.
Wow. So, like, as you talk about, like, your love for football and where you are today, when did that moment shift when you knew it was a calling or something you just felt?
To be honest with you, it's going to sound crazy. Like, it's one thing my dad put the football in my hand at a young age, like a very young age, playing football in the backyard. That's where a lot of people say it. Played football, high school football at Suitland High School, played quarterback, started the math up, finished at Suitland High School, went to Bowie State University. And like every other kid who plays college football, you want to go to the NFL. That was my goal. I was like, I'm going to the NFL. And I'm going to play right away. And then I had a little bit of adversity hit, had something called a cholesterol granuloma on the side of my brain that the doctors found was non-cancerous, but they found it was like, hey, you got to deal with it. And you have to, before you deal with it, you won't be able to play football until it gets handled. Shout out to my old athletic trainer, Kate. Without her, we wouldn't have recognized what was going on. And I remember one day at church at Reed Temple AME, it was a pastor. I'll never forget this day. And I knew God was real, but sometimes you ever like was one of those church services where the pastors like calling out people, and I'm thinking it's fake. People like falling out, and it's like I literally think it's a joke. And I remember I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I hope he don't call me. Like, 'cause I'm like, one, I don't know if it's all real. And he pointed me out, and he was like, you. I'm like, I started crying immediately. He was like, you play football. And I like literally lost it. I'm like, I never met this man a day in my life. He said, God's telling me to tell you that, and this was in front of Reed Temple AME, I'll make you something with the game of football as long as you trust me. I remember I'm leaving that church service. I'm going to be going to NFL. I'm playing. I'm going to play in the NFL. And then obviously my career went totally different from a playing standpoint. It wasn't what I thought it was. I got it. I always had the cholesterol granuloma. Then I had a knee injury that followed a year after I got All-American. And so it was hard for me to accept it first. But I had to really just sit back. What is God's plan for me? I'm thinking God's saying one thing, but he's saying something totally different. And after I got that second knee injury, with playing, that's when I realized, okay, maybe I'm being called to do something else. And there's also God placed Coach Wilson, Damon Wilson, in my life to help me get on that second path of coaching.
So that brings me, you brought up Coach Damon Wilson, but not just him. I remember one of his favorite words is the standard is the standard, right? Or I remember him always said, when I go to Bowie, that was the standard is the standard. So what part of Bowie's culture still lives with you today?
Probably that the standard is the standard, and then also just because adversity, like your behavior, you can't let your circumstance dictate your behavior. That was something he told me one time when I had the cyst. I was dealing with the cyst in my brain. To be honest with you, I started, like, when that happened, I felt like my life was starting to spiral out of control in terms of, wasn't doing well in school, was like depressed. And then when I finally did play, I did well, but then I got hurt and I didn't handle well again. And I was doing things that, just out of depression, to be honest with you. I was 19. I mean, when I first got to this, I was 17 years old. I was young in college. And I got hurt again. I was 19, 20. And I feel like I'm on top of the world one moment, playing the starting quarterback at Bowie State, playing the CIAA championship game, got MVP, and then I'm hurt and I'm not playing anymore again. And I was depressed. I was hurt. I was, I thought this game that I love so much more than anything. And sadly, I loved it more than God, the one who gave me the game of football to use. And I was letting it, become essentially my God, the way I was acting. And I remember, started with my dad first. My dad, Brian Washington, he's the one like, hey, stop worshiping football.
Yeah. Hold on, you froze up on me a little bit.
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, just because, I was dealing with that adversity. Coach, like my dad said, Coach Wilson all brought the same thing. He said, hey, don't let your circumstance dictate your behavior. And I had to realize, okay, yes, I may be hurt. Yes, I may have went through this, but I don't have to let this dictate how the rest of my life will, become. And thank God for the support system around me, my father, my mom, my brother, sister, and then, more importantly, my partner, my wife, who was there every step of the way, to help me get through that tough time in my life.
Yeah. And what did you like? I'm guy too from that. So number one, I hear the influence of your father and your family and that support system. But talk to me a little bit about Coach Wilson, because every person that I've spoke to a man, says how good Coach Wilson is. How has he influenced you?
He influenced a lot. I mean, he did something that a lot of coaches wouldn't have done. What do I mean by that? I got the cyst. That's one thing. So a lot of coaches will still keep a guy on scholarship because he got hurt, right? My grades went bad. He said, instead of forget this kid, no, I'm gonna bring you on my coaching staff. That was his first immediate thought. Like, I'm gonna let you, get your grades right, and then I'm gonna let you help run the scout team. So I'm forever in debt to that, because he didn't have to do that. He saw something in me where he was like, okay, nope. Right now he's still young. He messed up, but I'm not giving up on him. And there was coaches on that staff was like, Wilson, why are you still trying to save this kid? He don't want to, save himself. And I thank God that God put on his heart to be like, no, you know what? I'm not going to allow him to go to the wayside. I'm not going to allow him to fail. So, yeah, Coach Wilson, I forever am grateful for him for that, because I know God put in his heart, to help me get to where I am today. That's why when we played Morgan, it meant a lot to me, because I know what some of the things that he was able to do for me in my life. You know what I mean? Like he could have easily said, the moment I got ineligible, he could have said, I'm done. And it happened twice. That's rare. He could have said, no, I'm done. He didn't. And I'm grateful that God's grace was placed on Coach Wilson's heart, and Coach Wilson allowed God to put that on his heart to say, you know what? He's not done. He's not, he's trying. And I'm just forever grateful. I can't even explain it.
That's understanding, and then that's the blessing. I know a lot of us who, because I can tell you millions of stories where somebody stood in the gap when I was having a bad time. And if they weren't there, it could have got worse, and had those blessings. And I know also your faith in God, allowed you to come back after you lost your way. So how did that affect? Talk to me about your coaching philosophy. How did your spirituality, those things affect your coaching philosophy?
Back to big time, to be honest with you, because I'm the type of person. I mean, everyone that knew me, I know my wife used to hate that I say it. Like, football was number one in my life, like overall, including God. Like, and I felt I had to get humble first and realize that God gave me football and not football giving me God. So I have it steps in order where it's like, okay, I still love football, but there is some order, Honestly, I put football in front of my family at one point. Now I'm able to order it where it's go faith, family, to football. And now it's helped football have some success in it because now, as you know, football is also about relationships. If these kids don't feel like they have a family to relate to or hear, they won't do anything for you. And they're, that's how it's driven me within my philosophy now in terms of my overall belief with God and the football. Now, you're talking about just my football philosophy, man, that's just a slide offense. That's what I believe in, in terms of taking the no need to retaliate if you slide first. Because that relates not just to football, relates to your life. So as a black man, not even just black, I'm going to take color out. As a man, if you don't take control of your life and you are aggressive towards your life, somebody can take control of it for you. And I learned that with the experience. And so now that it carried over into football. And I remember I came up with that philosophy actually from the slide part, actually the day of my wedding day. Just messing around with my groomsmen. I'm listening to a song actually by Pooh Shiesty. And I heard that lyric said, no need to retaliate if you slide first. And I'm like, oh, this is it. I said, because now you hear the term slide, that's their lingo, our lingo, the kids' lingo. And now it's something they can embrace. And that's where it started from. So I'm pulling from different parts. The main thing I was just, now I'm not putting football as my true number one over my faith and my family. And then the slide just came, from put into the kids' lingo. I'm not that old myself, but something that we can all relate to.
Now I got you, because that's important. And a lot of kids they're reactive, instead of proactive. They don't want to take accountability in some ways because they don't know how to take charge of it. And they're a slave to what everybody thinks, feels, or how they may feel. And now, speaking of the kids and sliding, tell me about the Nemo Washington coach player. What does that look like on and off the field?
It is funny. So I'm not trying to say I hope it doesn't come out wrong. There is two different people. Like on the field, you may not recognize me. It's funny. My mom always says, she's like, your voice tone, your language at times, I don't get it. And I said, I don't try to do all the time, Mom. And I don't like to do that, but every now and then it's the competitive edge. I feel like sometimes I'm still playing out there. I get a lot of juice. Like, our kids feed off our energy though. Like, we have a saying, like, the coach's energy drives the player's execution. The player's execution drives their own energy. Like, if we're giving them that energy, they're going to execute with detail. And then once they execute, the energy just drives up because, we're having success. And I think that's been a big help to the turnaround of the Delaware State program. And so you come to our practices, it's one of the most intense competitive scenes that you probably would see. Like, it's not normal where it's like there's a winner and a loser every single day. Like, I'm excited about the practice tomorrow morning because I know, like, somebody going to lose. And because somebody going to lose, and I know it ain't going to be me. And I know Coach Blackman and the defense are saying the same thing. And so who I am on the field is definitely not the same person I'm off the field. Off the field, pretty chill. Just, I vibe. I like to go walk around campus. I like to see, support other programs. I will talk. Like, I'll say hello to everyone, but I'm not going to just sit down if I don't really know you as much, just because that's just who I am. Once I get to know you, then I'm all fun and games and stuff like that. But when it comes to that field, it's a totally different person in terms of I feel like my personality changes. And sometimes I even create things in my head. I know people think, my father used to tell me, he said, you got to stop doing that. Like, I be having beefs with people. They don't even know they're having beefs with me, but it'll be something totally different. But in my head, they did something. So it is two different people.
You create that tension so that you can focus and lock in, but that's important. And like, I coach wrestling, I coach football, and I coach lacrosse. And I try to explain to them, I want you to be a nice guy. Again.
Yeah,
Right?
after the game.
Not during the game. Because they're not going to be nice to you.
Yes.
And so at practice, all those things, you got to practice with the intensity you plan on playing. And we got to beat each other up like iron sharpens iron to make sure that we're ready when we get inside of that cauldron of competition. What was that? Laughing at you in your story. I gotta get my mind. Oh, speaking of your jersey, your shirt, your hoodie on, the Cleveland Browns. You were part of, was it the Bill Walsh Fellowship?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about how that what did like the level of preparation and detail. Explain what it exposed you to and what stayed with you the most.
I would say the detail. So I was there for 2 years, and so I signed a contract extension. I was supposed to be there till 2027.
Oh,
but the detail was the biggest thing that I learned. And what do I mean by that? It could be something as small as, right, if you have a piece of paper, like Kevin Stefanski, he'll look at that piece of paper. If there's too many spaces between those words, go change that. It's not perfect. It's not right. And that used to annoy me at the time, but it made me think, no, every little thing matters. Like I remember the one project I had when I first got there, we was in the midst of changing logos. And the logo was a Browns helmet. The face mask was brown on the old logo, but now it's white. So he wanted every logo changed in the playbook. So if you saw brown, the logo with the Browns face mask, go change it to the one with the white face mask. Mine is like 100 and some pages, like you just install one, and not even thinking, I'm thinking it's all good. He looked at every one and he found like 2 logos and was like, "Hey, this is not right. We'll go redo it." That little, attention to detail showed me, okay, every little thing matters. And it was annoying at first, but then once I got used to it, I was like, I know some of my coaches be annoyed with me when I know it's little stuff. Like, I'm not as bad as that. I'm not going to trip about something small, but I will trip like this. Like, hey, no, that's not right. Let's get that right. Align this. So the detail was the biggest thing. And then another thing I did notice, and this is I'm going to give credit more to a lot of coaches I met just throughout the HBCU ranks. Like, a lot of us belong up there. Like, no exaggeration. And nothing against the NFL too, because there's a lot of good coaches there. It's just certain guys are getting an opportunity. Football is football everywhere. And there was a lot of great coaches there, but I done made a lot of great coaches here at Delaware State. Even, some HBCU coach. Like I worked with Coach Tennis Berry at the East-West Shrine game, and Coach Alvin Parker worked with both of them guys. Those are 2 coaches, in my opinion, they would do really well in the NFL, given the opportunity. So that was the biggest thing I learned. The attention to detail, that I also learned, though, there's coaches I ran across in my lifetime that should be in that level. They just weren't given opportunity just yet.
So what do you think is the biggest? Is it just because we're HBCUs is the biggest?
No, because I think sometimes it's about the connections. Because, so for example, Mike Vrabel, before I left out, and you won't mind, we had a conversation. I remember I told him I had this opportunity. And I asked him, do you think I should go to Delaware State or stay in Cleveland? He said, you need to go. He said, because you're coaching here, but you don't have your own. He said, you got to show that you can do it. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm here. Like, what if I don't go back? Nate will get back. He said, how? You got connections here already. And I'm thinking, he's just talking. Well, he hired a guy from FAMU last year on his staff in a position role. So he wasn't just talking, he showed action behind it. His quarterback coach was my office mate, Ashton Grant. You know what I mean? Like, he's showing, okay, no, go show what you can do on your own, and then it will come back to you. How I got to the NFL in the first place, I didn't know anybody up there. It was by the grace of God. I remember I got the email, and I was shocked, so I think it's just about getting the right connections, or sometimes just timing, just timing. And then once we do get up there, it's about the rest of us bringing someone along. I know that's one of my biggest goals. I know eventually I want to go back. Not right now though. I'm having a great time and just move overall and just the college ranks. But when it's time, I would like to bring other people along with me. Just because, like I said, I ran this course with so many other coaches. And then when you realize too, a lot of coaches do get the opportunity, but they don't want to, I guess, start from the bottom over again, which I get. But it's like sometimes believe in yourself, like go through it because it's going to be bigger than you in the end.
That's interesting. Because there's a lot of talk. I have a lot of friends that coach college, some at Temple, some at Morgan. Actually, I talked to Morgan's OC. He was the quarterback at Cheney when I played football. And so that's a whole nother thing. But so what do you think is the next? Well, I'm gonna come back. I'll come back to that. So what did you learn? You said detail, connections are important. And what things did you take from that you can transfer to your players, and also what you do now at Delaware State? How did that shape and you know what I mean, and put that together?
Well, one, I can give the information that what is the NFL looking for you to go to the next level. That's the biggest thing I took. Like, hey, I know exactly what they're looking at. I know I was in those ownership meetings. I was in the draft room meetings. I know what they're saying. I know how they're saying. Whether I agree or not, I can say, hey, I wouldn't do that if I were you because I was just there not even a year ago, listening to how they're talking and evaluating players. Also, like if your guy makes a roster, I can say, hey, no, this is what they're going to tell you, how to be a professional. That was the biggest thing I give. Like, and I take pride in it. I got 2 years NFL experience from a coach standpoint. I was the most recent one in the NFL from our staff with all these great Hall of Famers. So I'm like, I'm just there. I know exactly what they're saying. I can give it to you. I can give you the game. And I want to give them the game. And to our credit to our players, they're listening to it as well. Like you see in some of our guys, how they starting to carry themselves because they're like, oh, we got a million guys. Not even a million. We got a lot of guys that been on the next level. We got over 65 years of NFL experience on our coaching staff. That's second to only North Carolina University. You get what I'm saying? Like, so they're hearing us and, they're taking it with them, like how they, carry themselves. So that was the biggest thing that I was able to take and transition into our players and watching how it's shown throughout the year. This year has been amazing. It's been a blessing from God because they could have, just looked at us like, oh, we just young coaches and we just cool. But no, they're actually taking heed and it's starting to show it from a playing field standpoint as well.
Awesome. So staying with that for a second, because I have two questions too.
Okay.
When you're evaluating players now, what is one trait or behavior that tells you this kid is the dog? He's a real deal.
How they play without the ball in their hands. So I can't say I came up with this statement, but Brennan Marion, who was a offensive coordinator at Howard University at the time, did the go-go offense. He used to tweet this message out. He's a great dude. He's a good friend of mine. Especially in the coaching world, I would say. He said, how you play by the ball in your hand determines how much you love your teammate. I would just add on, it also determines how much of a dog you are. Like, everyone, they get the ball, you can see they pass when they have the football. Everyone, like, it's on me. It's about me. Then you watch those guys, what are they doing without the ball in their hand? How hard are they going? Obviously, you can tell the dogs when, like, they're special with the ball in their hands. And not every kid is going to be like, it's not going to scream that they want to do the dirty work to block it. But every now and then, you'll be able to tell there's a kid, oh, that's a dog. Like, for example, this kid ain't James Jones that we got. I'm sure y'all know that kid is a straight dog. Like, the way he blocks, the way he runs, you feel it when you watch him play. Like, it screams out. Not just when he has a ball. It's just how hard he does with it. So when I watch it now, obviously going from watching college prospects when I was in the league to now watching high school, that's something that jumps out. You can tell, you see it comes out through the screen. And then when you meet them, sometimes you just know. But it really shows on the screen when you watch that and turn on that huddle, like those guys, how they, how much they love football by how they play without the ball in their hands. Because this is like, it's nothing against them. I love this generation, but it is a look at me generation. And I get it, they want the attention. And then some of them deserve it. And some of them need the attention just because, right, they're on their phone so much. And then it's nothing with the parents. It's just like they're trained social media gives them that immediate gratitude and love. So it's easier for them to get satisfaction when you get the ball in your hand, because that's what? Immediate love.
Yeah.
The coach is trusting me. The quarterback trusts me. I got the ball in my hands. Now let's look at me. It's not gratitude. Well, now I got to go make a block. I got to block for my brother. I got to go do this because I may not get the credit. I may not get the love. So it's harder. You know when you see it, though. But it's hard to sometimes get those guys to buy into that.
Yeah, and building relationships with kids is a little different now because respect is different. You just can't say shut up. Back in the day, the coach could say shut up. We had a coach who used to smack you with this is the early '80s. I'm old, but coach would smack you with his clipboard. Can you imagine that now?
Oh, it'd be a fight. And you on ESPN.
Yeah.
And you on ESPN. I don't have coaches call me a lot of things, and then all right, guess coach, got you. You say that nowadays, man, it's up. It's up. like who you talking to? Yeah. And if you tell the kid, hey, I'm gonna call your parent, I'll call them for you. So now what? You're not a parent, like, why are you talking to him like that? And I'm like, look, I ain't got time for it. So I was like, that's the one thing I do miss about the NFL. You ain't got to deal with no parents. I can't lie to you. Be like, man, I ain't doing this mess. You go about your day, I go about my day. I see you tomorrow, brother. Like, keep it moving.
See, I wish it could be like that more often because I'm telling you, man, this is my first year coaching football. I normally didn't do it. Yeah, and I was like, oh, because it's a whole. I coach wrestling. They're a little different because you're in a room. And if you really needed to, you could wrestle a kid. You can't do that with football.
I ain't wrestling.
You were talking about Delaware State. You said over 64 years?
65. Over
65 years of NFL experience. Right. Talk to me about being in that room, that coach's room, and what it's like.
It's incredible. I remember when I was telling people, I'm leaving NFL, I'm leaving the Cleveland Browns to go to Delaware State. They're like, you crazy. Leaving NFL? Like, bro, did you get fired? No, I'm leaving. They actually were surprised themselves, but they got it. But then you walk into a room, all right, your head coach, Deshaun Jackson, 15 years in NFL, arguably top 2, top 3 deep threat in NFL history, probably Hall of Famer, right? On the right, you got Clinton Portis, 9 years, all-rookie team. Depending on who you talk to, could be Hall of Famer as well, right? Then you look at Eugene Chung, O-line coach. First of all, first-round draft pick out of Virginia Tech. Played in the league 6-7 years. Coached Eagles to Super Bowl. Chiefs won Super Bowl, right? Then you got Emerson Martin, a Hampton grad, CIAA guy who played the NFL, made to the Super Bowl with the Chiefs, right? 6-7 years. Tom Sims, D-line coach, played in the league, right? Sean Weston, All-American at Texas A&M, cornerback coach. Travis Clark, assistant head coach, All-American at Utah State, safety, had a little stint in the league. Sammy Parker, Oregon's all-time leading receiver, 8 years in the league, played with the Chiefs, really known for what he did, right? Brandon Blackman, really good. His mentor was Marvin Lewis, had a stint with the Bengals himself, played at Purdue, finished at Tennessee State, right? Martin Bayless, 14 years in the NFL, special teams coordinator, worked with the Vikings, did a lot of stuff, had 14 interceptions in the season one time. So everywhere you look, and Donovan Warren, I can go down Donovan Warren, Jonas Jackson. There's NFL experience all across the board, right? I left the NFL, but I didn't leave the NFL. The conference changed, but the football talk didn't change. Like, that was the one thing I was like, I could tell people like, hey, that didn't change. Yeah, all right, I'm not looking at Nick Chubb every day. I'm looking at James Jones and Marquise Gilly, okay? But Clinton Portis right there, okay? I'm not looking at Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy. All right, I got Najee Lally and Kyrie Benton, who's still a good player, getting coached by Sammy Parker and Deshaun Jackson. So, yeah, did I lead the NFL? Yeah, but I walk right into the NFL in terms of the conversation. And we got guys, we got 3 or 4 guys, I think, on this team alone that has a shot based on what I see. And so it's been an awesome experience. And then credit to those guys, Shoot, they didn't look at me as like some young kid that just came, only been 2 years. They respect my knowledge of the game, and I definitely respect theirs. And they didn't treat me as, like a kid. They respected me as a man, and it's been awesome, honestly.
So, like, that's interesting hearing about the locker room. That's a who's who kind of in its own right. I get it. D-Jack is the face, right?
Yeah.
But the things in the pieces, and he talks about that all the time in the press conference about the pieces and people he have around him and what he's building. And like Delaware State right now is building something bigger than football, right? They got culture, identity, a swag. What's your role in shaping that day to day?
My role, my role is just doing my job, and my job is being an offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. That's just my role. That's the one thing he always tells us: do your role. Like, don't do more than your role, don't do less than your role. Well, my role is I got the offense and the quarterbacks, and I'm gonna do the best I can to that ability, buying into the program's mentality, program standard, which is dog mindset, dog mentality, and resilience, and then enforcing what he allowed me to say, the slide. No need to retaliate, slide first. My job, bring that freaking juice. Use my language. Like, you gonna feel us and hear us every time we step on the field. You watch us. We're an attacking style offense. We got back to hitting attacking stuff this past week. 18 supposed to play. Now we had some penalties that we had to clean up, but we got back rolling to who we are, and that's my role, to make sure we're in the best position offensively, that we have the best game plan possible, executed with my coaching staff, which I got the best offensive coaching staff in the entire country. Yes, I'm biased, but yes, it's also facts too. We came together in February, right? We didn't come together like everyone else did in January, December. We got together in February and got this thing rolling. So just doing my part, like bring the juice and get ready to, attack every single day, not just on Saturdays. We attack like we attack today. We got practice tomorrow morning. Attack that tomorrow morning. We'll figure out the day after that. So just doing my role. That's my part right now.
Okay. And how does it feel? Like you were talking about, coaches trust you. They trust your knowledge of the game. But like the players, you talk about they believe they're buying in. But what do you honestly hope they feel from you? What do you want the players to feel when they're around you and get from you?
I just hope they feel that I'm genuine and I truly care about their, well-being outside of football. I think the best message I received this year was when the kid told me, "Thanks, coach, for, believing in me and giving me opportunity, because no one else did." It was a transfer kid. Jaden Saray, actually, he was the one. I don't mind sharing. He texted, and this before he played this Saturday. He appreciate your opportunity. Like, you didn't have to do that when a lot of people wrote me off. So getting those type of messages are mean the most to me, because it's like, yeah, football, that's gonna be football. Football is one of those sports. It's a business, and at the end of the day, yes, here's one thing, coach, a lie. I ain't got favorites. That's a lie. Yes, we do. The one to make plays. But within football, when you take off the field, there's a relationship, there's a bond that you grow with, where it's like, okay, I got you for life after this. My players know I'm not just talking it. Well, how do they know? I got two former players of mine right now on our coaching staff, right? I got you for life. So when I say that, it's not a joke. You can look and say, okay, oh, Coach Ryan and Coach Javon, they played for Coach Nemo. So he's not playing when he say that. Mm-hmm. So me having that and being able to say that to those guys and actually mean it, and then they understand that and know that I truly care, that I think that's means the most to me.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, but I got one thing, because I learned a lot about you today. But away from the grind, away from football, who is Nemo Washington, and what keeps you grounded or centered?
Who I am? It depends. I'll say it's hard for me to say step away from football. You can, because it's funny. I'm sitting here. My wife's right here too, sitting here. So she'll probably say the same. Football still gonna be a part of me no matter what. I'm a husband, and my responsibility first to my wife, Joey, who's been there literally ever since. We've been together probably 14 years, married for close to 4 now. So we met when we were 7 years old, started dating in high school. So that's who I am as a person, like, because football doesn't, I'm proud to say football no longer defines me, and that I can say that football has shaped me, helped me provide for me and my family, which is my wife. And that feels good to say that. God that believes in God, that my players will tell you that we pray every day. Like, this is the most we ever pray. Like, every single day we pray. And then they be like, Coach, sometimes you be clicking out on the field. Like, I'm competitive. So if you say who I'm on the field, I'm competitive no matter what. No matter what we're doing. We play Uno, I'm probably cheat to win. I'm probably going, I'll probably never lose an Uno game. I'm probably hiding cars and stuff. So I'm a competitive guy who loves to win, and I like to have a good time once I get to know you. If I don't know you as much, like, I am quiet at first. It's nothing. It's just I'm real reserved until that. But the moment I get to know you now, it's like, oh, I'm a joke with you and all that. But that's probably who I am away from football. Really, is just chill. I'm married. I'll have a good time with my family and friends. I'm not always around them, but when they are around, I have a good time. And then I'm very competitive at no matter what I do.
I hear that. Well, Coach, I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate your time. Well, maybe when I have one of my cookouts, I can invite you and your wife. We can play some spades, because we don't play. We play to win, and it's perfect.
Yeah, I'm with that. I ain't gonna lie, I'll probably cheat if I feel like I'm about to lose. So at least I'm telling you the truth right now.
And I got some big cousins, but you take it easy, enjoy it, and I definitely appreciate your time. And I want to say, like, for HBCU game day, I represent the North. I tell them anything above Virginia, that's my team. It's changing. It doesn't have sports really right now, and so that's who I root for. And to bring, like, for Delaware State and Delaware and me at football, for the center of the HBCU universe on Saturday to be in Dover, Delaware, is a big deal. We appreciate you for that. And thank you, man. Keep doing your thing. Big thing for you, brother. All right. Peace.
Thank you. Appreciate you.